Hey everyone, before we dive in, make sure to subscribe to my channel for more real-life stories that hit hard and stick with you. It was 3:17 a.m. when I heard her whisper my name. Not sleepy, not soft, just flat, steady, cold. "Ethan," she said, "we need to talk." Those 4 words cut through the darkness like a knife. My wife, Megan, stood by the window, half lit by the street lamp outside. Her hair was messy, her sweatshirt hanging loose, but her eyes looked like she hadn't blinked in hours. My heart started pounding before I even sat up. "What's wrong?" I asked, though deep down I already knew. There's a certain tone people use when they've seen something they can't unsee. She turned toward me, clutching her phone. "Who is Sophie?" And just like that, the air left the room. I could have lied. I could have said she was a coworker, a client. But the truth? Sophie was someone I shouldn't have been speaking to the way I did. A few months earlier, Megan and I had started drifting. No fights, no shouting, just quiet distance. We spoke less, touched less. She went to bed early. I stayed up late. And in those lonely hours, Sophie started messaging me. She was part of my old marketing team. Someone who laughed at my jokes, remembered my birthday, and once said she wished her boyfriend paid attention like I did. I didn't cheat physically, but I crossed emotional lines. Compliments, late-night confessions, a few photos that weren't explicit, but far from innocent. Everything felt harmless, until it wasn't. Megan stood there, trembling yet calm in a way that only comes when someone is too hurt to cry. "I read the messages," she said. "All of them." I swallowed hard. "Megan, I swear it wasn't." "Don't," she cut me off. "Don't insult me by saying it wasn't cheating." Her voice cracked on the last word, and that hurt far more than her anger. We sat on the edge of the bed, the clock ticking. The world outside slept. She asked questions. I answered honestly. How it started, why it happened, how far it went. Every word tasted like rust. I told her I never loved Sophie, never intended to replace her. It was attention, validation, a distraction from the quiet growing between us. Hearing myself say, it only made it sound worse. Finally, she said, "You made me feel crazy these last few months. Every time I asked what was wrong, you told me I was imagining things. I thought I was losing my mind." Her voice broke. Tears slipped down her cheeks, and I reached for her hand, but she pulled away. "I can't even look at you right now," she whispered. I didn't push. I just sat there, letting the weight of what I'd done crush every piece of man I thought I was. We didn't sleep that night. Neither of us. Around dawn, I heard her in the kitchen, coffee machine whirring, soft clinks of her mug. I went down quietly, unsure what to say. She didn't look up. "You know," she said, staring into her cup, "when we got married, I promised myself that if you ever cheated, I'd leave. No questions. No second chances." My chest tightened. But last night, when I read those messages, I didn't feel anger first. I felt grief, as if I'd already lost her months ago, and I hadn't noticed. She finally looked at me. "So, tell me the truth, Ethan. Do you still want this us?" It was the hardest question I'd ever faced. Wanting her wasn't the issue. I always wanted her. I'd just forgotten to show it. I'd forgotten that marriage isn't about staying. It's about choosing each other every day, even when it's hard. "I do," I said, voice shaking. "I want to fix this. I want you." She was silent for a long moment, then slowly nodded. "Then delete her. All of it. Now." So I did. Every message, every photo, every trace gone. When I showed her my phone, she watched the screen like it was both a funeral and a release. The weeks that followed were brutal. She didn't trust me, and I didn't blame her. I overexplained every call, every email. We went to therapy, where I had to admit things I hadn't even admitted to myself. That I was lonely, insecure, desperate to feel seen, using someone else's attention to fill the void in our marriage. Megan cried through most of those sessions, but she stayed. Slowly, we rebuilt. We walked without phones. We cooked together again. The first time she reached for my hand in public, I nearly cried. But the turning point, the real moment things shifted, came 3 months later, around the same time she woke me that first night. 3:17 a.m. again. Half asleep, I felt her roll over, place her hand on my chest, and whisper, "I'm still here." Just that, nothing more. I wrapped my arms around her. For the first time in months, I felt her heartbeat against mine. Not distant, not guarded, just there. Now, a year later, people still ask how we survived it. I don't have a neat answer. There's no formula, no step-by-step redemption. Just two people who chose to face their ugliest truths and stay anyway. It's not perfect. Sometimes she hesitates when my phone buzzes. Sometimes I catch flashes of guilt in her eyes. But we talk now, really talk, and that's something we hadn't done in years. I keep thinking of that night, when she stood in the dark, voice trembling but steady, saying, "We need to talk." Most people hear that and think it's the end. For us, somehow, it was a beginning. At 3:17 a.m., my wife didn't just confront my betrayal. She saved our marriage. And maybe she saved me too.